This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Sean Gilmore.
All right, everybody, welcome to our paranormal podcast. I'm Sean Gilmore, your co-host. Brian,
It's Brian. How are you? Very good, Sean.
You got to do your intro. You have the best intro. You're like the best at intros.
Oh, I listen. The only intro that I have is that I'm super excited to hang out with Chris tonight. It's I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of great times on every single podcast, but this one I feel is going to be special, and it's going to be a really fun night. So
it is going to be awesome. But I have one piece of house cleaning I have to do.
Sure.
Okay. So the other night I saw Brian, and he's like, "Man, they have something really cool here. Look at this. It's like this silver box." I'm like, "What?" I just thought it was like some clutter or something. I didn't know what it was. And he's like, "Look at it, dude. Look at this. Look at that. It is an Our Paranormal water bottle, and it's got my name on it.
That's wicked.
Brian's got one too. Look at that. He's flexing.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, now, what's really cool about these, Brian's fiancés makes these.
Yes.
So, Brian, can you just real quick, since you guys gave me this as an awesome gift, can you kind of plug that real quick, and then we'll move on?
Sure, yeah. So, especially in the paranormal, my fiancée Julie has One Stop Tumbler Shop LLC, where she makes everything from video games to like your favorite show, like Friends, for example, whatever. But in the paranormal community, where I find the most value is, say you've got a team, or say you've got a podcast that you really enjoy, or someone's been a part of a paranormal team for years, and you want to get them something nice. All you have to do is provide the logo, and she does like random designs like this, and they could put their name on it. This just happens to be another one with the same thing, but with like Your Paranormal on it, and then also my name with like the same like logo. Essentially, she could put anything on there. Like if you have like a pet or like a favorite piece of equipment for your team, she could just slap it on there and make it look nice. So. In the paranormal world or the podcast world, that it's a great personal gift.
I think it's great. You know what? My wife, she's not into paranormal, but she loves to keep her coffee hot. And she was actually just asking me about getting a tumbler with sparkles on it. So
she does.
I saw that on her Facebook page, and I saw Jack Daniels one.
Yeah.
So.
Correct.
So, guys, go check it out. Check her out on Facebook and order some tumblers. I know I called it the wrong thing earlier, but that's just because my energy's just kicking in. So it's been a long week for me, guys. But
and real quick, we're at an investigation, and I hid it in one of the rooms, and I said, "Sean, check that out." So of course, but and again, this is one of the best gifts that you can give someone. But the best gift that we can give you all tonight is Chris. Chris, you are 100%. Phenomenal.
Go ahead and tell the cake.
Oh, Chris, I actually have a lot that I want to talk with you tonight. I've been wanting to get you on for a while, and I'm glad that we finally did. Because man, you just came out with this new book.
Yeah. And I got to bring one thing up though before we get started, fellas. You're sponsored by that dump, the Hinsdale House, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure Dan.
Oh no, because you don't go there ever.
No, I know. No, Dan's one of my best friends in the business. I'm not really. He's one of my best friends. Period.
Yeah.
But I had to get that in. I hope he hears it.
Dan's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. No, he's the best.
I'm actually really excited to get Brian to the Hinsdale House for the first time in the spring. We're going with Mike Ricksecker.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Mike's a buddy of mine. Yeah.
He's
my book publisher, and also he's doing he's got a new documentary coming out for Too Awful Long, and I get to be in that too. So
nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. About the
awesome.
shadow people.
Yeah.
So actually, I was on a show the other night, and he showed this clip. I'd never seen it. And of course, I don't have. I guess it's going into the doc, but it's like, oh, dude, that's right. You did shoot that. And it's funny, but people got you on film. I said, good Lord, I don't remember that. And so I'm just glad we didn't have cell phones and videos and shit like that when I was younger.
Right.
Oh my God, I'd still be paying bribe money.
Right. That's the truth, though. I mean, back then, you've been doing this since what your bio said, was it 98? Did I read that right?
I started the shamanism stuff in 1993, and the paranormal stuff came in 1998.
Okay.
Just on a whim. And that wasn't even my whim, it was somebody else's whim.
So it's just like your spiritual path kind of led you to investigating the paranormal.
Yeah, it's and everything I do, I mean, it comes out of my shamanic training. So I kind of went into this thing kind of backwards. Most people start in the paranormal and they'll develop other skills and things like that. Where I started my spiritual stuff first and then got into the paranormal. And again, that was kind of an accident at the time. It was 1998, and a friend of mine's son was a DJ at the local community college. He's part of the radio program there. And he goes, hey, he knew about my shaman stuff. And he goes, how about you want to do a ghost hunt? I said, well, what's up? And he goes, we want to do something live on the radio station on Halloween night. And I'm like thinking, spirits, ghosts, animal spirits, spirit guides. Yeah, okay. Energy. Shit. Yeah, let's give it a shot. And so, I mean, I'm flying by the seat of my pants because this is before there's any ghost shows.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was Ed and Lorraine Warren and Hans Holzer. Mm-hmm. That's how I didn't know any of that stuff. I'm going to be very honest. I wasn't into that. I was into UFOs, if anything, at that time. So, and so I just made stuff up as I went along, and it worked. And so we caught some really nice things. I think we might have had a little bit of tape or something like that. We didn't have any cameras or anything, but I don't use a lot of that stuff anyway. I was just finding spots, and I found one spot that was really funky, and it was a suicide spot, which always just drive me insane. Mm-hmm. But we found out later in that room, a girl had hung herself in there. And so that's how it started, is, something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, as with all of us being paranormal investigators, we all have a really good idea on that path of leads us to there. And I definitely want to dive more into this. But I feel like your shamanic path and everything that you've done, that is a bigger part of who you are, and what, like you said, it led you into the paranormal.
Right.
How does somebody become a shaman or get into that kind of spiritual path?
Well, sometimes sometimes you're born into it. You're born into a tradition, like the Crow Dog family in the Sioux Nation, Lakota. They, a succession of medicine people in their family. Sometimes in some cultures, the shaman picks you, or if you have certain dreams that indicate that you have medicine, the skills to do shamanic work, get tapped that way. Or sometimes you decide it. In my case, I was, I guess, invited, for lack of a better word, because I certainly didn't set out with the intent, nor did I know much about it. Here's what happened. So I go into this in the book, but I was going through a period of my life. I was getting really depressed and stuff like that. And I knew something was missing in my life. I just didn't know what the hell it was. And one day, my wife, Julie, goes, hey, there's a big powwow over here. And I lived in East Central Illinois at the time, but north between Champaign and Chicago. And now I live by the Mississippi River in Godfrey, southwestern Illinois. But so I said, okay, what the hell, why not? So we go to the powwow, and so I'm hanging out. And it's if you've never been to one, they're freaking amazing. But this is like the Powwow National. For some reason, this little bitty county, this little bitty town has the Powwow National at the county fairgrounds. And so we're getting, and I'm digging, I'm seeing all the different dances and stuff, and the different regalia, and all these different tribes and stuff were represented there. And I knew a little bit about history about the Native Americans, and always felt really saddened by the whole thing because of such a screw job. But I knew nothing about the spiritual stuff. And growing up, my parents were Unitarians. I mean, it's more of a philosophical look at religion. It's not spiritual. So I had no frame of reference for any of this. So anyway, we go to this powwow, I'm digging, and there's a barn over to my right behind the grand arena. And I heard this rhythmic drumming. It was really intense stuff. I'm like, well, what the hell that's about? So, Julia stayed and watched the main dancers, and I think I had my daughter. Yeah, I had my daughter with me, just pushing her in a stroller. She's like 1, and so that's back when I had all my hair and it was black. Anyway, and so we went to the barn, and it was just so, it was throbbing, and the rattles were going, the guys were singing, and it was just boom, boom, boom like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I get this feeling. It's like there's another world here, and I've got one foot in this world, and I got one foot in the other one. And it's like I just felt this amazing rush, spiritual insight. The Buddhists call it satori. It means a sudden flash of spiritual insight, which scared the shit out of me, literally. I mean, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And so I go, I'm lucky I didn't leave Emily in there, sitting in her carriage thing there. And I walked out, and I was, I had to figure this out. And so I'm, back then I was very cerebral. And so I always read about stuff. Instead of going and asking an elder or something like that, which probably wasn't a good idea. So I was a little too shy for that then. And so I went to the book vendors, and I'm just looking. And I see a book in something in my heart tells me, okay, grab that book. So I grabbed the book, and I just paid the guy. I looked at it a little bit. Black Elk Speaks. It's about Lakota medicine, man. And so I read this book and read about how their medicine people, their shaman work. And this is how the universe works, everybody. So all of a sudden, I finally, pay attention to this calling. And so I put out there, and they, they play with the pipe. They do ceremony with the pipe, and the Chanupa long stem pipes. And I thought, how cool would it be to sit in ceremony and smoke the pipe with somebody? And 2 months later, I'm reading this magazine out of Chicago, and this little New Age shop was having a pipe circle. So there's a phone number. I called the phone number, and hey, can I come to your pipe circle? And I say, yeah, come on up. And that's where I meet my first teacher. And it goes on from there through Lakota teachings, and then later on about how I get into the Sasiwas medicine tradition from the Pacific Northwest. But guys, that's how it started. I mean, it was like I didn't watch Dances with Wolves or Thunderheart, and decided I wanted to be a medicine man. I got, Spirit says, okay, Sutton, there you go. And you can say yes or you can say no. But if I said no, I would have not been happy. So I said yes. And here, 27 years later, here I am.
That's awesome. I've been to a couple of those Native American powwows. I actually, last time I was in Arizona, I went to it was a hoop dancing contest.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah,
that was kind of a powwow.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and it really is such a spiritual connection when you can watch them dance. And I mean, me being an empath and everything, I don't know, I've always been able to tune in the music that way, and I could only imagine how powerful that was for you, and that led you down such an amazing path. That's a special path. Not many people get to do that.
No, it's not easy. But I mean, it's about the journey. You learn so much about yourself that you didn't know, and you have to. I mean, if you're gonna, in our medicine tradition, you find out what your medicine is, what your skill is your spiritual skill is. In like your case, you're an empath, so you would look to, you keep following that. So you learn what your gift is, and the first thing you do after you've learned your gift, you don't run out there and start helping people. Okay, you have to heal yourself first, and then you're ready. And you have to learn about yourself. And I'm not perfect. For any stretch of imagination, it comes that I still have emotional stomach blocks at times. However, I can usually get it back together a lot faster because of this. So it's like you know your mood, you know who you are as a person, and you learn to accept that. For a long time I fought this whole thing, and mentally, I would still do stuff, but I would not believe in myself. I mean, who am I to be blessed with this? And all of a sudden, but then all of a sudden you got to realize, well, hey, let me take the me part out of it and put that to the side and say, okay, I'm yours. What do you want me to do? And you do it, and it all of a sudden things start working out. But yeah, it's an incredible journey. It's because you go through some emotional stuff, highs and lows, but at the end of the day, when my head hits the pillow, I'm happy I did it.
I bet that's amazing. And then it led you into the paranormal, and led you here today. Your book. Here we have it here. It's called Shock and Awe, and you can get that from Haunted Road Media, and so it's on YouTube. It's on Amazon. And go to Coyote Chris's website. It's right there on the ticker, www.coyotechris.com. I've watched your shows on VidiSpace,
cool.
which are always a lot of fun. And actually, the way I got introduced to you in your work was years back, again through Mike Ricksecker's show and everything. So it's just
cool.
It's really neat. I've always loved the Native American history and traditions, and I wasn't blessed with the path that you got to go on, and I just find it so interesting, and it's just I don't know. I think of I can't even think what it's called. There's certain things I'd love to experience, like the I can't think of what it's called right now. You go into the like a sweat lodge.
Oh, sweat lodge. Yeah, it's an Ipe ceremony in Sioux. Oh, that's wicked. It's great, man. I can't say I've done all the ceremony. I've never done a sun dance, which is where you put stuff through your skin and dance backwards until it tears out because it's tied to ropes to the street. I had gotten out of the Sioux tradition before I got to that. But oh yeah, I mean, I knew the guy who had carried Sitting Bull's pipe. He gave me some teachings, and we went to a sweat lodge together in Indiana and got to smoke Sitting Bull's pipe. And you sit there and you can just feel. I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, Crazy Horse would have touched it. Obviously, Chief Call, all these amazing warriors and medicine people held that pipe. Fool's Crow, who carried it before Jim Gillihan did, the guy who I knew, and it's just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen and felt. And to be able to smoke that was just like, oh, man, I'm just so blessed when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I don't use the word blessed very often, but yeah, that's certainly it. But I'll tell you one thing. I do have some native blood in me, but it's South American and Central American. It's not North American. Yeah, it goes way back. I did a whole genetic thing, and I used to worry about that sort of stuff. And after a while, I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. That's just, if I have been the one that gone to people and begged to be taught and stuff like that, that might be one thing. Or if I was doing it for an ego trip and to make money selling ceremony, which I would never do. I mean, I don't even charge for healing. I used to ask for like gas money if I go someplace, if I do a house cleansing even, because that's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've got a decent job, and so I don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. As long as I break even on that type of stuff, I'm okay. So I bet some of the other stuff I do helps pay for doing my medicine work. So I'm okay with that. Somebody in the chat asked where I lived, and
they asked. I think. Hold on, I was going to get to that. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I just have the chat up in case I'm an asshole.
They're asking. Where are you located? I'm sorry, I misread that. I was going to get into where that powwow was. But yes, so
I'm located in the Alton Godfrey, Illinois area. It's in southwestern Illinois, and I am just I live about a quarter mile, half mile from the Mississippi River, and we're just north of St. Louis. So it takes me about 15, 20 minutes to get to St. Louis, and if I ever have to fly or anything, it's nice. I don't live in a huge community, but it's nice having a bigger city real close to you. Like you want to go to a ball game or a hockey game or something. I'm a big sports fan. And so, I grew up watching the Blues and the Cardinals and, the various football teams we've had come through. But, that's all like that. I have that. But it's funny. I never do any work. I used to work there all the time, and I haven't done it in years. I stay busy enough over here and what I do with my other stuff. So that happens with people. Some people's like we're more comfortable in a certain area. Yeah. They said like Fool's Crow didn't, these guys, these shaman, they're so tied into their land that they'll travel, but they don't like staying gone very long.
Yeah.
And I'm usually better, I like to travel a little bit, but I usually am happier, a few more energetic when I'm at home. So
I'm kind of the same way. I can see that. And where you're at by the Mississippi and you're in Illinois, so that's close to the Ohio River. There's a lot of really neat history in that area. It's so sad. It's so sad what's happened.
It is terrible.
That was a mecca there, and it's gone.
You talking about Cahokia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about 20 minutes from Cahokia.
Oh, wow.
I actually, it's a neat place. I tell you what, Sean. If you're an empathic, you get a lot out of that. That's really cool. Actually, I did archaeology for 4 years. It's been in social services most of my life, and I got full burnout one time. So, a buddy of mine was running an archae gig for University of Illinois, and they did shovel bums. That's somebody who's not really professional at, but you can get pretty good at.
Yeah.
So I spent 4 years in a suburb of Cahokia.
Nice.
So
nice. Here, I'm sorry, real quick.
Stuff I got the Great Lakes we had. Yep.
Yeah. Real quick, Aaron Kaczmarczyk, I'm sorry, I know you're local to us. Every summer, actually, I think it's like the spring and fall at Mohican, they have powwows. That's about as good as it gets here.
Yeah. It's I think we have one at Washington University in St. Louis a year now. There's not a whole lot. It was a huge thing for a while. Things come and go. And Illinois doesn't have any tribal centers or reservations. Neither does Missouri. Now there are certain people who identify or from certain tribes. You get some Peorias and Illinis and things like that around, but there's no like you going to New York. And when I go back this year, I'm going to the I think the Seneca Museum. Somebody's going to take me there, and so I'm going to definitely go check that out. That's going to be in May.
Yeah, driving to the Hinsa house, you drive through a reservation.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Actually the young lady who works for Dan doesn't work for Dan, and she gets teachings from me. She's a Seneca Indian, and so she's going to show me some stuff. And I'm there in May, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be. I love looking at the difference. I went to the Trail of Tears Museum one time in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Oh my God.
I bet that was hard.
So bloody sad. But one of my teachers told me, actually, he was a Mohegan teacher. He lived in Chicago, though. He said, if you're going to walk this path, you got to learn about the pain that goes with it. And he's right, because you have to come to face with these things. And it challenges you. But I tell you what, if you go someplace like Hinsdale or other places and you drum and you sing with your heart, the native spirits who are there will respect that. And other natives have attended things I've done and are cool. It's like it's got to come from your heart. It can't be BS stuff. That's for sure.
I actually, the last time I was there was years ago when I was still with Ectovision, and tried to do a little drum thing, and I didn't do any real beat. I just kind of like closed my eyes and just kind of like felt the drum just for a second. We got a real odd thing. It was a very short session, but shortly after, we saw one of the craziest things I had ever seen there. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about.
Mm-hmm.
It was shaped like a man squatting down. Like he was like squatting down, had his arms kind of like on his knees, like squatting. But he had antlers, snout, big brown eyes, and horns. It was so okay. Amber, who was there with me, she saw it, and it was like it wasn't like something transparent. This was a solid creature that we saw, and I was so scared that I picked up 2 sticks and I, waved them above my head and started screaming, that like yelling, like you're supposed to do for a bear.
Right.
So I did it like a bear, and it lofted off silently, never to be seen again.
How tall was it?
Well, it was squatting down. It looked like it's like humanoid.
Okay, no, there are certain. I mean, that's an elemental. I've had some encounters, not as good as that. That's pretty good, I guess. I mean, some people might say it was a Wendigo or something like that. I'd have to see. Who knows about that stuff? But I believe in those things. Around the Ensdale house, there's a small elemental we call it Pukwudgie, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than from what the research I've done. It's definitely bigger than a Pukwudgie. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe like some sort of skinwalker or I don't know. It definitely seemed native to me though.
Yeah, I mean skinwalkers is a southwestern thing mostly. Not saying they can't be up here. Yeah, I mean, but this thing, we have the old folk tales from Europe about the fairy, the fae, and things like that. That's what these are. I mean, they're North American.
Right.
Not that sometimes some of the European ones are here as well too. I've seen them, but yeah, it's always a trip. It's to encounter things like that. I was in the basement of a place called McPike Mansion. It's a haunted place. And what we do, we get in this wine cellar, we all circle up and we do a little drumming or, and just, talk to the spirits. The spirits come in pitch black. Of course, but then you see the darker and dark, and that's when the spirit enters the room. The squat thing came in one time. I'm like, oh, I know this thing. It was powerful. You could tell. But it was kind of not really interested in us. It was more interested in the energy of the place. I had a friend of mine by the door. I said, dude, be awake. He goes, yeah, I see it. I said, but it kind of made the rounds and it left. It's like they come and go like almost like a portal, it would seem like. But yeah, it's I was at a place in Missouri called Valley Mines. It's an old mining town. The house there was built in the main house there was built in 1749. It's the second oldest house west of the Mississippi. And we investigate that place. Now the houses, and they had these old cabins from the 1800s, and a guy who was a freed slave had a cabin there. And all this interesting history, all this stuff's going on. So we were in the Wainwright's cabin, the wagon maker's cabin, and so the medium kicked me out because she said the ghosts were scared of me. And that's happened before because part of what I do is to try to make spirits understand that they should not be bothering people, that you should move on. Not cry. I don't care if you go to the light or not, give a shit. But you gotta leave these folks be. And so I can be kind of forceful about that. So, and spirits might see that and say, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not like I'm some big badass, but it does happen. And it's like, okay, so I said, that's cool. And of course, as soon as I walked out, all the K2s and start going off and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, she was right. But I go outside and I'm standing outside and kind of looking in these woods across a creek. And I notice these little lights on the ground. I said, well, look like fireflies. I think those are white. Fireflies are yellow. So I knelt down and touched the grass bone dry. Well, this is interesting. So I started kind of, walking slowly towards it. As I walked towards it, the lights receded. And there was no shadows or anything like that. There was no light. Like there was no light around me that would have cast a shadow. It wasn't shadow shaped. So I stepped back and here come the lights again. So I did that a couple of times and they were just kind of watching. You can kind of feel a little consciousness down there. And also this big blob of red light went through the woods on the other side of the creek. And I thought, I wonder if that's a truck light, a car tail light or something like that. Well, I asked one of the locals later and they said, no, there's no road back there. We see that shit all the time. So it was a spook light. So people call them spook lights. So we had a spook light, some type of elemental, and a red light went by. And so, wow, this is when I really got, and I love investigating outside. It's just my favorite thing to do.
Oh, me too.
Oh, it's rocks. And dude, we got to work together then because we'll tear the place up.
I bet we would. I actually started out going to the Cuyahoga Valley National Park here. So.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, nuts. Coyote. What, okay, what's Cleveland?
Well, it's outside of Cleveland, Akron area.
Uh-huh.
So it's a lot of it is along the old canal way. There's a area I found with a old, actually, one of my favorite places to go to is a site of an old fort, Native American fort. But there's so many different areas, but there's a lot of sad history with Native American too.
Gosh.
When they built the canals, they didn't care. They just went through everything.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lock that they actually built into a burial mound. That's actually Red Lock. That's one of the popular areas to go to the park for hiking and everything. But there's just a lot of other great things that happen there, and the history from the locks and everything is there's a lot of areas that are very active.
Yeah.
It's also the area where Helltown is.
Oh, really? I saw that documentary. I'm like,
Yeah. A lot of it is a bunch of stories, but the cemetery that's there in Helltown was a burial mound, a Native American burial mound that at some point in time Christians believed that it was better off as a Christian cemetery. So they would literally just bury people on top of the burial mound, or if they came across native remains, they just threw them away.
Pitch them, yeah. I know. Oh yeah, there's what's that place in Tennessee? It's in a dam. It's got a haunted restaurant or a haunted bar there or something like that. It's a little dam, and they flooded that place. It was a Cherokee settlement there. They didn't give a shit. They just I'm getting on my soapbox. It's still happening today. If you look at Standing Rock, through that pipeline through there. I wish I could have gone there. I had real bad hips for a while, and so I got them both replaced in 2019. But so I was in no shape to go. But I made sure that I gave them money best I could and that sort of thing to help them out. But it's every there's a book called "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee," and that's what that's one of my teachers suggested that, and I read that, and it's all about that sort of thing. And that's just a few of the hundreds of thousands of stories of what happened to the people. And my teacher now he was forced to go. He was forced to go to Indian school. They would come get you and take you, make you go, and kill the Indian, save the man, sort of thing. Yeah,
that's pretty much. There's like camps for kids, pretty much.
And concentration camps for kids. Yeah. That's why there's so many of these cultures losing their language, because they made these kids stop speaking their language. Yeah. If you spoke, in your tongue, then you get beat up. Bad. So it's God, it just makes you sick. I mean, but again, the paths I followed, the native side, you have to be aware of that and what you're doing. And you have to, that just gives you even more respect for the people who were before you to carry the medicine. And so just, you have to work hard to make sure that you honor those people who, in the Siwas tradition, that means sacred breath. And that was a tradition that was started. It's not like it from any one particular tribe. Because the Pacific Northwest, there's tribes everywhere. I was just looking at a map with a friend of mine, and just all these different settlements and tribes in this area and that area. Languages were mostly different, and so they had to develop a way to do ceremony all together. Without, so it makes you more peaceful. If you're sitting doing prayer with somebody, you're less likely to attack them the next day. So you build a more of a camaraderie, and this is the type that was. Johnny Moses is my teacher's name. His great grandfather, back in 1920, would teach people this stuff. And he started teaching white people stuff in 1920, and that's the tradition I learned. And that's why I stay with this, is because it's meant for everybody. It's not just meant for a tribe. Oh, look at that, Brian! I love you. You're my favorite.
Brian has an
Great.
admirer. I've known that girl since like the 8th grade too, but I'm not her favorite. You are, whatever.
All I know is who got the doll behind you.
That's true. Aaron, the
Yeah,
Raggedy Ann doll.
I saw that creepy thing sitting back.
That was a gift from Aaron. It was supposed to be.
It was a gift from Aaron.
It was a gift from Aaron, and I was supposed to give it to Brian, but I was like, hey, I kind of like it. And Aaron said I could keep it.
Ah, there you go.
So, well, Brian, he has the whole reason that brought this up is because he has a doll right here.
Yes.
Her name is Barb, and she has a spirit attachment. It's really kind of a cool story. It actually, to me, the reason why I like the story because it shows the real risk that we take as paranormal investigators. Mm-hmm. This is a doll Brian purchased at like Target, I think, and then he and his team brought it along to a lot of different investigations, and now it's got a spirit attachment. That just shows.
That's why you got locked in that glass box now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it was part of our college group, and then when I graduated, they kept bringing Barb on investigations until they felt it was unsafe. So they gave it to the tour guides. They gave it to Joe from Oddities, who kept it in his haunted museum for like 3 or so years. Mm-hmm. And then just, out of nowhere, we had a guest back out. So we had a different guest, and we're just talking about random stuff, of course. And Joe's working on his spirit box at his museum, and the music goes off. He's like, oh, I guess I'm not going to go turn the radio back on. I'll just listen to something on my phone. Pulls up his phone, we're the first things on Facebook, so he just clicks it on. And 40 seconds later, even though we've been talking for over an hour, I bring up Barb for the first time. And he's like, what are the odds that this Barb that he's talking about is this crazy haunted doll that's in my glass casing? So we just thought Barb was gone forever. We didn't know that she was at Oddities whatsoever. We just thought she was gone. So now, since graduated, we got her back, and she's going on investigations with the group that I started post-college, and it's a real treat.
Yeah, it reminds me of my friend Josh Hurd, who's at Malvern Manor. He has a Honda. He still got it. He had to end up putting it in those glass boxes too, because he'd leave her out. And then so he would come in the next day, and she'd be someplace completely different, like inside of a cabinet or some stuff. And he was the last one there, and he's the first one in. And so I'm hanging. My wife's making a shitload of noise. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
So he goes, okay, I got to put her up. So he puts her in this glass box, and he'd come in, and he'd find her in like a really, like she was twerking or some weird sexual, position like that. That doll was insane. I saw it one time. I said, oh, you can keep that, brother. I don't want anything to do with that stuff. Right. Yeah. I was at a con one time, and this guy had dolls, like creepy dolls and stuff.
Yeah.
But one, he goes like, man, I was talking to him. I was telling him what I did. He goes, check this doll out. Tell me what you think. So I'm looking at this doll like this is creepy, some creepy shit. There's something not very good on here. And so I looked at him. I said, he goes, what should I do? I tell him, I said, oh, this is some creepy stuff. He goes, what should I do? I said, tell you what, you get you a big box, fill it halfway full of salt, put that doll in there, pull the other half full of salt, dig it 6-foot hole in the ground, put it down there, or put it on the clearance table so you get rid of it. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Dig it on the ground. Don't turn back, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, what if someone comes across a Native American spirit, or if they find themselves on Native American holy ground? Like, what is the best way for somebody to handle themselves into, if they have to approach a spirit that's native?
You just with respect. What I always say is like, hey, I'm sorry what happened to you, land and your people. I always start with something like that. I'd love to hear your story. I don't want anything from you if you want to talk to me, but I'm here to help. Usually I'm helping somebody else when I come across them. And like we go to Hinsdale. I mean, I do this a lot of places. I shouldn't say just Hinsdale. but you give them an offering.
Mhm.
I always carried tobacco with me or something, or even sage. And, you give an offering, offer a prayer to them. And usually you'll get along fine. Now, sometimes they're pissed because I did this one house, and it was in a brand new subdivision. And I think they probably plowed through probably a village that had been there, before, and it disturbed it. And the people who bought the house didn't know this. And that's what it felt like anyway. And there was a pissed off native spirit there. So, and I understood. I said, hey, I get you. I understand. So what I did, but the people got to live. I said, let me teach these people how to act. So I taught me the wife, mother went out and I talked to her about medicine wheel. She made this beautiful medicine wheel. Put a lot of work and time into it. It looked great. And I said, take offerings. They would take a little bit of dinner out and put it by the woods, or take tobacco out and that. So I came back and everything was cool. So I did a little protection thing, ceremony, and thanked the spirit, for accepting these lights. And they're not the ones that did this. That was, these other people that did it. And don't get that. I mean, but you kind of sometimes got, and this is not just native spirits, it's other spirits as well, as they're pissed because somebody's on their land.
Right.
You come in my house, I'm going to be mad.
Hey.
Well, you kind of explain the situation to them. Like, oh, okay. And you tell the people, hey, but interact with the spirits. And so once the family started interacting with these native spirits, things went cool. It was good. Of course, that was the time I did this nice drum flourish at the end, thanking the spirits and da-da-da. And I took a big step back into a big pile of dog crap. And my son just thought that was the funniest thing. Of course,
my son would laugh at that too.
Yeah.
Now, I've brought cornmeal, like an all-natural cornmeal.
Sure. You can use almost anything. It's the gift is one thing, but it's if it comes from the heart. Corn pollen and cornmeal that's big in the Southwest, but I think in the East that corn has corn wasn't. It took a while for corn to get up there.
Yeah,
but they did have it by the time. So I think there's probably that would be seen as a gift. The Cherokee used tobacco a lot. They actually would use tobacco like some people use sage or cedar. In the northwest coast, it's cedar. That's what they have because they have cedar trees, and so and that's tradition. We normally burn cedar, but up there up in the Northeast, it's tobacco and that sort of thing. But I've done it before where it's like I would go first time I went to the Inside House, I went to a restaurant before the event, and I ordered a hamburger patty cooked, and I got that there and broke it down, and
nice.
Like next time we use chicken. I mean, if you have venison or something like that, that's even better.
Yeah.
But it's about your heart, and this transcends to all spirits. Yeah. That if you are kind to them and try to work with them, then they'll come around to it. I've had some of the best. I admit that I used the necrophonic. All right, everybody, but it works for me. And I don't have to spend $700 for a Geoport. But
right.
I'm not that serious about it. I know a lot of people got Geoports, and they're really cool. But one thing, we were just kicking it with some of an investigation, and we just had it's just a crazy. We were just talking like normal, like none of this. Like, were you dead? Who are you? It was like we just started just shooting the shit, and I got some of the best responses out of that. And like I said, I remember saying, I said like, hey, you guys are funny tonight. They said, well, I've got this clear voice. Thank you.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's lots of fun. I remember one time I was at there's a place in Alton called the Mineral Springs Hotel. It's legit haunted. Friends of mine own it and stuff, so I do a lot of work down there. And so well, Ghost Adventures had gone there in 2018, late 2017. It came out in 2019. So. And I was on it and some other people there from the area. And so I have a little group that meets once a month there. And we normally just talk about shamanism and witchcraft and Reiki and stuff like that, spiritual type of stuff. But they they like to do the ghost stuff. So I said, okay, I get this thing out. And so, and I'm going to preface this by saying I have nothing personal against the Ghost Adventures guys at all. They've always been nice to me whenever I've met them. I have nothing but good things to say about them. As far as my personal experience, okay? So this is how this went down. And so we got the necrophonic out. And so one of the one of my circle mates says, "Oh, did you like Zach?" Right away, no, boom, like that. Okay, so one of them asked, "Did you like Aaron?" And there was a pause, and no, like that. Then it goes. One of the spirits goes, "Dude." I said, "What?" And it goes, "Dude." I said, "Are you emulating Aaron?" He goes, "Dude, dude, 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 dude," just like that, boom, boom, like that. We just rolled. It was so fun.
That's awesome.
But they know the spirits know me there, so they'll play along sometimes. But other times they want to. There's one of them there that doesn't like me, so I have to watch out for him. But yeah, it's there's always some that you just can't reach. You know, that they're just gonna be them, and you got to deal with that.
It's I've heard a lot of good things about Mineral Springs. Again, probably within the same circles. And I have to make it out to Illinois. There's a lot of really cool places out there.
Oh yeah, dude.
But real quick, people keep on asking, so I have to go back to this. First, the restaurant that you were talking about, Joe Parodities is asking, what's it called? The JD's Barbecue?
Gosh, I don't remember. You know, that doesn't sound too far off the mark.
And we have a couple other.
It was one of the small towns close to Hinsdale.
Okay.
Is what I remember.
There's another one, Josh Bender.
Oh, Hales Dam, yeah.
That's
the place in Tennessee, that Hales Bar Dam. Yeah, that's it.
And Joe Parodities asked if it was Bobby Mackey's possibly.
Yeah.
I think Bobby Mackey is in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've not been to Mackey's. I'm not one of these people that if I go to a haunted place, that's cool, I'm down with it. Cuba, New York. Yeah, there's Dan. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Dan.
Sorry, I trashed the house earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if Dan saw that part.
No, I was in jest. And I told everybody how much I loved you and how you're my fan.
Yeah.
I'll be back there in May.
Yeah, I think isn't that when we are going in May?
I'm there May 23rd with Dan and Bill and Chris Reed.
I'm so bad with that. I can't even. Now baseball and soccer starting with the kids. My dates aren't.
Oh, I know.
Without my Google Calendar, I'm lost.
I think the Hinsdale house is the 17th of April.
It is. You're right. 17th of April.
It's a good thing you didn't show up in May.
It's close to May.
It is close to me. It's close enough.
It's close enough to make me think, hey, I'm going close to them too.
Sorry, Dan. May 22nd, not 23rd. It's Saturday night. Well, he's right. It is 22nd. Okay, never mind. That's one of the things I like Dan, because he has his shit together when I don't.
Oh, and he's like so crazy busy. It's like it's insane. I don't know how he does everything that he does.
Yeah, he has minions.
He does have those
minions. But he pays his minions, so I can't complain about that.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to find good help. So when you find good help, you got to take advantage.
Oh yeah, no, he's got good help too. He's got some ace people working for him that do stuff. So it's a good thing. Yeah, some in Hinsdale obviously is one of my most favorite places in the world. We've just had so many great experiences out there. I rarely go in the house. I go to the house at the end of the night.
Yeah,
I'm out. I'm out at the pond. I'm up the hill by the spirit tree. And just all kinds of whacked out stuff happens. I mean, it's cool whacked out, but one time, I think the first time I was there, Dan had his geoport, and we got crazy singing coming through, and we're asking, well, who is this? And it said Pukwudgie twice over the geoport. Ooh. And so I'm like, okay. So I said, we've been doing this for a while. So I said, let's maybe we can go back up the hill a little bit. So we got to the edge of where the grass starts growing high again, and we heard a growl. I was like, nope. Now, usually I would take that as a challenge, but in that situation, I was not. That was a sign that, okay, that's far enough for right now. I'm like, okay, out of respect. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll leave this alone for now. So you got to respect that. You got to respect the spirits of that place. But we did the first drumming circle there. Then after that, we kind of got finished a little bit, and all of a sudden now the hills, you can hear drumming back. And I'm just so like, cool. Wow, that is really cool. So yeah, it's a rocking place, man.
Maybe I'll bring my drum.
Yeah, definitely do it. I mean, just be respectful, and
Right.
that's
You
all
have
you
a
got to
drum?
be. Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, bring a drum.
Brian, bring a drum.
No.
So I was at the Allegheny Forest. Like, one of my best buddies is really, really into hiking. And so me, him, his cousin, and his cousin's friend went hiking in the Allegheny Forest. And we've been hiking before, but this time, we had just hiked for hours, and we just got to where we were gonna like set up camp, because basically, just hike into the forest, camp, and then wake up and then hike back. And it just started raining. So we get everything in, and we cook the food, and then we just settle in for the night. And my buddy Francis and I have been just sitting there talking for the last 20-25 minutes, and we kind of start to go to bed. And then he says, do you see that? And it looked as if there was a flashlight, like someone was walking towards our tents. So we had a tent, and then his cousin had a tent, and it was like someone with a flashlight. It wasn't like a lightning bug or anything. It was like beams of light. And then you can hear walking around, to the point of, I thought someone was going to like try and break into our tents, and it was real serious. And then we at the time, had weapons, etc. But we go out there, nothing.
That's weird. So many things could be happening, and you're talking native spirits, you're talking elementals, you're talking squatches. There's all sorts of rock and roll things.
So,
So
we had that big flashlight that I always take on investigation, Sean, and we shined it on a tree, and like half this tree just fell down. And other than that, it happened 8 more times. We would go in, and it would be so paranoid. Like we would legit just hear almost like the little tarp, someone stepping on the tarp. And we're like loaded up, ready to just go out there and catch someone. And even the other people in the other tent were freaking out, because they heard, something, or someone touched their tent, and they were freaking out. But we go out there, but there was no sounds of like an animal running away or anything. It was just nothing.
That sounds like the Blair Witch thing,
right?
Oh yeah.
I had kind of a similar experience when I went to the Hinsdale house the first time. I set up a tent. I was going to sleep in the house because there's supposed to be like a really dark energy there, being an empath. I'm like, I'm safer sleeping outside. Little did I know.
Yeah. Why don't stay there?
So we were something walked right by my tent. It was heavy, and I did not look. I was alone in my tent, and I was just like, nope. I'm just gonna lay here. I'm gonna pretend like I'm sleeping. By pretending I'm sleeping, my eyes were wide open, and I'm like, what is out there?
There's tales about the hills up in Hinsdale being that there are things trapped up there. I don't know if that's true or not. That were placed there because they need to not be around other things.
Right.
So again, I do not know the veracity of that story, but it's something I've heard. So yeah, I mean, the energy of the place it's not bad energy. It's just so much energy.
Yeah.
That things are attracted to that. I mean, it's like you ever been to these places where they're haunted, but they shouldn't be. There's really no reason for them to be haunted, except they're on. And you talk about Holy Land or sacred ground. For our school in Iowa, it's like that. It's built on holy ground.
Yeah.
And that place can be, it can be great. It can be not. But I always, again, that's one of my favorite outside places because we've always had a lot of good stuff happen there.
Yeah.
So
Josh Bender, he wants to know: has Chris ever heard or been to Enriquez Historical Park? It has Native American history there, and you can investigate the park.
Oh, cool. I know I haven't, but I would sure love to do that. What state is that in? I didn't recognize the name either.
Josh, give us more info, please.
Hey, man.
And Jeff Taflin, he wants to know, how did you get the name Coyote?
The old Coyote story. When you're in the medicine path, you have spirit animals. and you can have more than one. The first one I ever had was the hawk, and the hawk brings information. So the hawk brings me teachings and helps me, to move where I'm supposed to be moving. Also, it also acts as my seeing animal, my psychic animal. Bear is for medicine. I met the bear in a journey, a shamanic journey. So if I'm doing healing work, I think of the bear, bring the bear in. Now, coyote is more of like my purpose animal, and kind of who I am. I met him actually in person. I used to live in the Kankakee, Illinois area. They had a really cool park was around the Kankakee River. I always lived by big rivers. I love the water like that. And it's in Virginia. Okay, thank you, Josh. I'll have to talk to Ray Savino about that. I'm with Flumeri Promotions, and he's in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to talk to him then and see if he can set something up. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. They can book me. Anyway, it's so hard to book stuff right now because it's so, everybody's in different areas of mitigation things with the virus. But okay, cool. Okay. I'll remember that. Anyway, I'm walking and it's got they got concrete paths. It's civilized there sort of, but it's like 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning. And I'm walking along and I don't move like stealthily, let's say it would put like that. And I have a tendency to have heavy footfalls. And so I'm walking, just being me, and out of the grass, this high grass, pops this coyote and gets onto the concrete and stops and looks at me. And so I'm feeling that, okay. And like, oh, Jesus. Because you never know what you're going to get with this. And then he sauntered off. Now, broad daylight, they stay away from people. I mean, he would have heard me, would have smelled me, and he could have gone the other way. No, he goes right in front, stops, and looks at me. I've had that happen here at the house. I live by the woods, and the coyote come out one time, looked at me for about 2 minutes. It's like, okay, I'm getting back to work. So anyway, so that's one reason. And I was doing teaching classes at a new age shop in St. Louis, and couples were standing around just shooting the shit. And I was talking to one guy, dude, you coyotes? He goes, no. He looks at me, he goes, no, you're the coyote. I said, okay, that's enough. So it is, and it's like that's how it happened. Again, something. Now it sounds cool. I'm not gonna lie. Coyote Chris Sutton. That doesn't sound too bad. So it worked in my favor, but I didn't make it up. I did not. It does sound
cool. Yeah.
And it's like it keeps it. Chris Sutton's kind of mundane, and so it's
Coyote Chris Sutton is a really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing sounds good with my name. I don't know. I've never tried, but I don't know.
You got to get into it. You never know. You might be, Sean the Wolf Gilmore.
Ooh. Ooh. I like that. So, Brian.
Yeah, and super big shout out to Josh Bender for always hooking us up with all this stuff.
Always.
I totally forgot. And if you're doing outdoor investigations, those bright IR lights from Deadlight, I forgot about February 21st, and now I'm going to be behind on all the orders. I kept telling him, listen, I'm bad with dates, just let me get the in. But he said, no, you got to wait. And I totally forgot about the 21st. So
what was the 21st?
I know he's accepting those new orders.
Oh, yeah.
For Deadlight. And I'm toast. I'm sorry, Josh, but I'll be messaging you after. Listen, everyone, go get yourself a Deadlight, but don't order it until tomorrow, just so I can save my place. It is such a huge help in the paranormal field to have that kind of that kind of power of an IR light, and also wonderful asset in the paranormal field is all of Chris's information and all of his stories, and that's why it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for Into the Abyss with Coyote Chris. Let's go. Now that is a perfect intro, everyone.
It is.
All right, 13 fast fire questions. Answer them as quickly but as thoroughly as possible, my friend. Are you ready?
I am ready. Bring it.
And of course, I'll say number 1 and number 13 for reference points. Let's begin, my friend. Number 1, what transferable skills did you learn from your time doing archaeology?
I learned transferable skills. I learned how to look at an actual skeleton and to sense its presence, and how actually I can find skeletal remains in the ground.
Wow. What's the best thing to do? What's the best thing to drink out of a blue cup?
Bourbon.
Yes.
Is that what you're drinking right now?
No. That's Kool-Aid.
Gotcha. I just spotted the blue cup. I didn't know what you were drinking, my friend.
Well, that's a pretty damn big cup.
That's a lot of bourbon. Sorry, I'm a bourbon fan myself. I got excited.
See, we got to investigate now, because I have a bourbon after.
Yes.
How would you describe the feeling when your heart calls you to something, like picking up a book?
The feeling is that if I do not do this, my heart will always hurt from not doing it.
And do you think there's more energy being near a giant river like the Mississippi?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on the importance of healing yourself first before focusing on others?
Yes, I can, because it's about, I've seen this in the social services field too. If you've got skills and you go out to help others, but if you have things inside of you that like negative energies and things like that, and feelings and emotions and things you have not come to grips with or have been able to cut the cord from, so to speak, it will, when we do spiritual healing and things like that, we ask the spirit of the earth and of the sky to come through us and to go out to that person. If you got a bunch of junk inside of you, it's going to negate that or make it very weak. So, and then sometimes you end up doing more harm than good, because your energy's messed up.
And speaking of energy, what was the energy like leading into 1998 on your first investigation?
Oh, that was kind of cool. I mean, here, it's Halloween. There's actually, I forgot to say this, on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I got the thing of the veils,
Yeah.
and so the energy was out there. It was really good. It was real positive. It was not much negative stuff going on, but yeah, it was very cool, very amazing. And I think sometimes things happen like that because it means you're supposed to keep going with it. If it sucked, I probably wouldn't have done it again. I'm not told everybody. Yeah, it was cool.
Okay. So many of us right now listening are in the paranormal field. So what kind of elements of like the shaman field can we implement in our lives to better ourselves?
What you can do is, when you learn how to manipulate energy, which is part of the deal. Let's say you go into a crowd room with a bunch of assholes, and you're in a crowd room with a bunch of assholes, and you got this negative energy coming at you. You learn how to bring energy up around your body to ward off those feelings, especially Sean knows this as being an empath. If you don't screen that, you're in for a headache, is what it is. And so those are some of the things you can also use, that energy to light up a room, to bring energy to other people. So those, that's very beneficial. So there's all sorts of cool things you learn when you do this.
Okay. And what's the most significant item on the shelf behind you?
Oh gosh. I shouldn't do this.
I didn't even know there's a shelf.
Ooh.
I will not say what it is.
It's beautiful.
That's very significant, yes.
Very beautiful. And so, how do you keep your passion fresh over, how many years have you been doing this? 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you keep the passion alive?
Because I finally focused on what I love doing the most, and that is helping other people find their spiritual path and to introduce them to the different ways of doing that. I love doing this. If my wife wouldn't kill me, I could probably do this every night. I love talking to people. I love teaching people. Helping people. And when you're doing the paranormal stuff too, people see what you're doing, like, what is that? And you explain it to them. Oh, okay. And there's so many different ways you can use it. And so, oh yeah, you're doing this with the help of spirits. You're doing this to help people. And getting people to realize there's something more than this mundane world, that there's another world with it that you can have fun with, enjoy, and get inspired with.
Okay. Now, how would you, because I mean, obviously, it has such a significant impact on your life. But how would you compare your life, or kind of like your attitude, pre and post 1993?
Much better. I like myself better. My mental health is better.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wasn't a bad person before then. It wasn't like I went from being a jerk to being some angelic being. I'm not. But my life is just so much, it enhances it.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of the stuff I always did, but it just makes it so much better. You enjoy it more, and you don't sweat the small stuff. You don't worry what people say. You don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't worry. I used to worry a lot about what people thought about what I was doing, especially my mother, who never liked it. But that was her problem. It wasn't mine. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many things that it's like going from 2D to 3D in vision. It's just it makes it much more richer and deeper, and you appreciate life more.
And talking about rich and deep, my friend, what's the secret to that majestic goatee of yours?
I tell you what, the reason I don't have bright lights in my face, but beside the fact that I'm old, but I don't want to show my wrinkles. Actually, my beard grows in two different ways. It goes straight down on this side, and on this side it goes like to the side.
Okay.
And so, right now, it's like, it looks pretty cool. And it is. It's not a bad goatee, but once you get to looking at it, I said, wait a minute, that grows one way and that grows the other way. So it's like in this kind of muted light like this, it looks pretty great. So
I love it. You wouldn't be here today if you never left your comfort zone.
Right.
How do you persuade people to leave their comfort zone and help them grow?
By telling them who they could be, and that's the best way. I do that. I don't do a lot of psychic readings and things like that. I mean, every once in a while, but it happens there. Or you'll be talking to somebody, and I use Native American tarot cards, among other things. But because they tell a story, I tell them a story. This is who you could be, and they get interested. And I tell my story. It's like, I put some pretty personal stuff in that book, and I don't mind it a bit, because I'll talk about it on here too. It doesn't bother me that how messed up I was, and they see that somebody else can do it. I always tell people, if I can do it, you can do it. So it doesn't, and that seems to help. Just to let them know what's on the other side, what could be there for them, and that they be able to throw off some of these chains that have held them back in life. The old Toltec thing about we're attached to cords of things of the past, or of people around us sucking energy out of us. Let's cut those cords, and you can be a free person. That's enticing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so number 13, kind of along the same lines here. Personally, how would you describe the positive impact of the shaman and paranormal fields on your life?
It makes it so interesting. The shaman brought me, how to get in close to spirit, and how to interact with that energy, with that wonderful energy. And then the paranormal is kind of like, okay, it kind of opens up a new way to heal spirits, and heal people who've been affected by spirits, and help people solve their mysteries and their problems, and to help people out, or to cleanse somebody's house and help show them how to protect it. It just opened up a whole new avenue. And then I tell you what, the paranormal field I just love it. There's so many cool people in it. I learned a lot from people. God, I'm not the end all. I'm not told. You always keep growing. You never stop growing. You never stop learning. And I've learned so much from that, and how to, all of a sudden I get into working outside and working with spirits that way. If I had never gotten into the paranormal, I never would have happened. Because our tradition, we kind of shy away from doing stuff at night. I had to talk to my teacher and tell him what I was doing. And he said he was fine with it. He goes, as long as you're helping people, you're all right. And, I have to keep a bandana around my neck, around my head, something like that. kind of our tradition. So I just had to check that out. But yeah, it makes it more richer and deeper. It's another way to express yourself.
My friend, if that wasn't one of the most profound entity best sections,
Definitely.
that was very good.
Yeah. Erin liked your comments. She said your answers and your heart are just beautiful.
Thank you.
She said she had a feather. This is news to me. She said she had a feather come through her sunroof in her car. I did not know.
What kind of feather? What kind of feather was it, Erin? If you could share that.
Erin, can you send a picture to either me or Brian, and we'll post a picture of it in the show? That's really interesting.
She left off that she was skeptical of that Kool-Aid in that blue cup. Yeah. She must have left that out. That's a lot of Kool-Aid.
I know, man. I got to keep drinking water. That's some way. It's water with that Kool-Aid flavoring it. It doesn't have any calories.
Yeah.
That makes me drink more water, which is good for me.
Yeah, I do Mio because I drink an abundance of water to begin with, but after you just do that so much and you don't have coffee, you start to.
Yeah, see, I don't drink coffee. I never acquired a taste for coffee. My mother and father drank coffee. My wife drinks coffee. My kids drink coffee. And every time I can never choke a cup down. And so I just now I didn't like beer at first, but I do drink beer.
Right.
I don't know.
Go to Starbucks and get one of those coffee frappuccino mochiata with a special.
I can drink one of those. It's like about that much coffee and the rest is milk. The rest is milk products. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My wife got me into those. I can do those too. My coffee can't taste like coffee either. I'm not a big coffee fan.
Yeah.
And some people are slaves to it.
Oh, they really are.
But no,
I don't know.
In fairness, I drink either Diet Coke or Diet Dr. Pepper in the morning. So
the worst. Yeah, I got into a good kick, Chris, of Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, and then when Lent started, I looked, and they sneaked just a few grams of caffeine. I said, "Oh, you rats!"
Oh, let that guilt set in.
Yeah.
Well, it's not guilt. It's just I can't have it. That's the thing. I said, I'm upset. So
she says it's the same feather that you showed. I don't know. That'd be pretty impressive.
What is it? This big?
That'd be pretty impressive. So I think I'm familiar.
It sounds like a crow feather, which is. I mean, that's similar. That's an eagle feather, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of hawks. There's a few eagles in the areas that I've taken her to. There's one area where there's a bald eagle's nest that they watch very closely, and they actually report about it on the news because it's like one of the few bald eagles in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
So
they come down the river down by where I live, and some years, I mean, this year we had a few. It wasn't too bad. The Mississippi gets ice on. They like to go stand on the ice and get fish, or they'll nest up in the tree, they'll perch up in the trees and stuff. They don't. We have a couple that stick around, and but yeah, they're just so cool. Cool bird.
To me, feathers and birds they have a spiritual significance, and. After one of it, I had a very disturbing thing happen to me after one investigation. It was at Randolph County Infirmary in Indiana.
Oh, I've heard of that place. Yeah.
I had a rental car, and I came and I put my equipment into the trunk, and on the back window of the car was a dead baby bird. I was like, oh, and we just had a really intense investigation. And I had we slept there, and I saw a shadow apparition in the room I was sleeping. It was just a really intense time. And then it come down, and I saw that is not good. I staged the crap out of there. I got that thing off, and I put it on the ground. I probably should have buried it. I was driving home, and I was like, crap, I probably should have buried that bird and done something more proper for the bird. I was more concerned about the symbolism of what that could have been. And so I saged the crap out of that car. I'll tell you what. I was like, what did that? I mean, I was parked under a tree, so it could have
Yeah.
it could have very likely just been it fell out of the tree, and my car just
Mhm.
happened to be where it landed. But still, I don't know.
Man.
To me, that kind of stuff has symbolism. The I mean, like there's another time when after I went to Madison Seminary and Adam Kimmel purchased it at Madison Seminary, I was supposed to go and help with the flashlight tours to go there, and I was really nervous to go back there because of the how I was affected the first time I was there.
Mhm.
The night before I went there, a hawk or something must have dropped a part of a squirrel carcass, and it landed on the top of my fence right outside my kitchen window. And I'm literally looking at a tail and a back foot of a squirrel. I was like, this is like, I don't know. I see symbolism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what first came to mind when you talk about the baby bird, I'm thinking like, you're playing with the dead.
yeah.
This is death. And that's just what popped in my mind. I mean, it wasn't like to warn you, say now you shouldn't do it, but it's more like, okay, this is what you're getting into, especially as an empath.
This is what you're seeing. So this is like
Mhm.
this is the physical aspect of
Right.
what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, that's again, I don't know if that it was fired straight from the hip on that one, so I wouldn't doubt if that was right. So yeah, that's not bad. Most of the time it's not bad. It's usually if it feels bad, it's because you need to change something. The old saying, if you see an owl that's going to bring death, that's not true.
Right.
Now, if you see an owl doing a weird dance and stuff, but then you in the Lakota tradition, that means you better watch your butt or somebody's going to die. Yeah, that's what that means there. So it depends on these on your tradition and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's usually if you see something, if it doesn't feel right, then it's probably you need to take a look at yourself. Especially if birds start coming around, means okay, it's time to wake up, brother. You need to, like crows are real big at bringing messages of ravens and that sort of thing. And so you got to pay attention. You see like a hawk hanging around you, you got to get on your horse and meditate and see what you need to do next. That's a messenger from spirit telling you need to. It's time to begin something new.
Like when I see like cardinals, I think of something good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's like probably like a relative or something.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Like a butterfly.
It's about family.
Yeah.
It's about again good things and. But if you're feeling down, you say cardinal means okay, lighten up. Okay. So it can mean different things at different times. Butterflies are about metamorphosis, about change. It's funny. My daughter works for a hospice, and their logo is a butterfly, which is cool because that's what happens. We're the cocoon now. Then you turn into a butterfly when you go back to spirit, and that's a cool way to think about it. Of course, I tease her and call it the death mobile, but I get the symbolism. But it's my daughter. I can't let her walk away unscathed.
Right.
She's smarter than I am, and I have to remind her that. So
here, Stacy Schreiner Morinsky. She says, "Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
I met you at Hinsdale along with Brian Kano and Dan. It was my first time ever doing investigations. I was very nervous." But after you performed your offering ceremony, I had a good, overwhelming feeling about being safe. I'm now part of a team. I've been doing it ever since. So that is awesome.
That's cool, Stacy. And your face looks really familiar. So I think I do remember you. That's cool. I just love doing that, though. I love doing those ceremonies. They're just so they were so much fun. But yeah, I'm so glad that was a great experience for you. And then now you're into ghost hunting. That means you should be in ghost hunting, and I'm proud I could help that. That makes me feel very good.
Definitely, that's really cool. And to have that type of effect doing that, that's really cool to be able to do that and getting to work with people like Brian Kano and
Brian. Brian's my buddy. I like Brian.
He still won't accept my friend request. I sent him a friend request years ago.
Oh, did you? Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I met Brian in 2015 in Texas, a place called Mineral Wells. That's where the Haunted Hill House is, if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
That place is pretty off the hook. So he's doing an event, and I got brought down to that event, and so I was with the people putting it on and somebody else. We were in the Walmart there, in Mineral Springs, Texas. Who do you see walking down the aisle with an armful of packets of T-shirts, socks, and underwear, but none other than the great Brian J. Kano? And so I ragged him about this. We've been to several events together, and then we worked together a couple times. And so he's a really good guy. I mean, he's very focused on what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think he can be. Brian kind of protects himself a little bit if he doesn't know you real well. I think he shies away.
Yeah.
And it's not that he's a great guy. He's a super guy, but he's kind of like that. You got to kind of get to know him a little bit. So.
You kind of got to be, especially once you get to be well known.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
Brian and Nick Groff and those guys, they are careful. And I mean, I know Nick and but yeah, it's like you don't know what people are going to do. There's some real lug nuts out there. That you just don't know what people are going to do. So you got to be kind of careful, and you got to earn people's trust. And so yeah, it's I've been real fortunate. I've met some really cool people at gigs and things like that, and got to know them fairly well. I know Rob Demarest real well, who's on Ghost Hunters International, and I've met and talked with Nick, and actually communicate every once in a while. Dan Class, another guy. Dustin Perry and I are friends. Dustin's a super guy. But yeah, I mean, there's, I don't want to sit there and do a who's who, but it's just like when you get yourself involved in this stuff, then these are the things that can happen. You can watch ghost shows on TV. You can go out and go to the investigations and meet these people. And they're all, I've not met anybody really who's been really an asshole. I mean, I've seen a couple on the edge, but, and I won't say any names, but no, by and large, we did the Missouri State Penitentiary one time with John Zaffis and Steve Gonsalves and Marion Stewart and there's one other person. And Dustin was there. Now, my wife and I met Dustin at this little thing in Springfield, Illinois, which is just up the road from us. And it was the Scare Fest from Kentucky. And they were trying to film something, like a documentary about these things. And they did it up there, very short notice. And when we walked into the place, you could tell they were doing it for documentary because you had to sign a waiver when you walked in if you showed up on television or on film. Yeah. And Dustin's literally standing there by himself. And I was not a huge GHI fan. I mean, not that I didn't like it, but at that point in my life, I wasn't watching a lot of ghost shows because I live it. Why would I want to watch it? Yeah. And so he's just standing there by himself. And Julie and I went up and started talking to him. And just the friendliest guy in the world. We hit it off. And we've been friends ever since. Now, my wife loves him like kinfolk. Okay, she thinks Dustin's the greatest thing in the world. And so we were at the Missouri State Pen that one time. Dustin was there. She bakes him this pie. Now, this woman's never baked a pie for me looked anything like this. She didn't put in a pie holder thing. They had to put, those big cake things you take to parties, so you don't, the cake doesn't get busted up. It had to fit in one of those. It was so big. And so, and she takes it and she has the best time. And he gives her a shout out during the Q&A where they're talking and stuff. And so next morning we get up and we're having breakfast with the friends we went with. And here comes Zaffis. And Zaffis just stops and talks, and we just had a good time just talking to him. But yeah, but again, these are stories that show how human these people are, and how cool most of them are. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun to get into. And it's just like you get out there and you meet people, and people like the first thing with Kano. He's really inquisitive about stuff, and so he's asking me about shamanism. At first, I thought he was giving me the business because it was something different from what he did, and it wasn't. He was just curious about it, and we worked together since then. And he's still fascinated. He gets fascinated by things, and so that's why we work together sometimes because we've got that balance. He's really into the scientific tech stuff, and I'm on the other side of that. So it's like. It's just it's kind of just a fun thing to do.
That's awesome. Now, real quick, you brought up your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Now I kind of wanted to ask you about this because I know how my wife is, and Brian is engaged. Now, how does your wife join you on investigations?
Sometimes. How did she feel? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she went to See, that we went to Missouri State Pen. I swore a long time ago I'd never pay to go on one. Now this is a paid get, and I shouldn't say I wouldn't pay. I'd pay like, so I wasn't going to pay hundreds of dollars to go to a thing. Didn't care who was at. Well, Amy Allen was supposed to be there, so we had to go. She loves Amy Allen. Now Amy canceled. Now I waited till because that was Mark Tetlow, one of his things. So I knew they'd do a BOGO, you buy one get one, So I waited till that happened and got tickets that way. But since then, she's we've actually did it. Both my kids will do it sometimes. We at the Mineral Springs, we've had the Sutton family investigation night, and so we all four of us were out there. Actually, father's my son-in-law was with us too, and so we have a great time doing it. It's not all the time. Now she gets bored at cons. She won't go to cons hardly.
Oh, okay.
I will take her with me if I do a house investigation or something like that. She's pretty good at certain things. Now, when this all started, she was no fan of it. She was, I think, right, because the first thing I really did like professionally in this thing was I was reading tarot cards at a coffee shop in Kankakee. That's how I first started. I was still doing I was learning shamans and stuff, but this is the first thing I did. And she was raised Catholic and stuff. Brian, you know what I'm talking about here. And so, and that wasn't a big thing for them, at least the church they went to. And so consorting with the demons and stuff like that. Now she didn't think that, but she didn't think that was a very smart, good use of my time. Now, so what happens? She's thinking about this, and she'll tell the story. And I sometimes go out creek walking out. If I find cool rocks, I'll bring it home. And so I had some sitting on the kitchen table. So she's sitting there thinking about this, and I'm doing the dishes or something like that. And she told me, she goes, so all of a sudden I looked at these rocks, and one was kind of shaking. It was a 3-sided rock, triangle-shaped rock. It started to roll. And there's no reason it should roll. The table was completely level. Everything was fine. There was nothing to force it. It just started to roll.
Wow.
And then she said, maybe I better give this a chance. And so that's what happened. And so over the years, she's become more and more. She loves using dowsing rods. That's her big thing. And so we got, and the pair she has, they're usually hanging up there. I probably have them stuffed in a bag somewhere, but she got them from Wanda Kay, who was the tour guide at Bobby Mackey's. Because Wanda Kay had a shop in Kentucky. We were in Kentucky one time, and we went and visited Wanda Kay, and she bought those.
Oh wow!
There, yeah. So she's all the four of them. Both my kids have different abilities. My daughter's is very empathic and reads things well. My son, he likes the stuff where I'm roaming around in the pitch black looking for negative spirits. That's his thing. He loves doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's a big, strong, big kid. He's bigger than I am, and he loves that stuff. And he's got the feeling too. He could kind of pick things out. He had one of our weirdest experiences. He and I were down in the Mineral Springs. There's a place called the Sub Basement. They call it the slaughterhouse because they think the story is that they slaughtered pigs down there, but we don't think that's true. But it's pretty gnarly anyway. And so we're down there, and so I think it was a Mike Ricksecker event, I think. And so we're going. We had groups traveling from place to place, and Max and I always claim the sub basement. That's my domain. That's my home. I love it because it's nasty. And so we had one group. I was doing drum circle and showing people how it worked and stuff. We had one group leave. We're waiting for the next group, and so we didn't turn the lights on. We just, we didn't turn a flash on because it's like we knew people were coming. Plus, there was no lights in there anyway, so it was pitch black. Max and I are standing in the middle of this huge room. We heard footsteps on one side, and it's not footsteps from upstairs because there's no way footsteps could go through. Okay, we got one set going, and all of a sudden on the other side, another set got going, like walking, like circling us. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I don't have a camera.
Right?
I don't have one of those. I always carry that. Usually don't carry that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's like, so yeah, we're all into it. So, but yeah, Julia. She could be quite handy now. Before she was not into it.
Nice. Now that's the difference between your Julie and my Julie. If my Julie saw some rocks rolling around, she called me and say, "Brian, garbage, get out." because she about dumped all them rocks in that garbage can, and I got to go take them out right now. She don't want nothing to do with the paranormal.
Yeah,
And
I understand that.
it is interesting. I think we were dating for a few months, and the first time I told her, like, hey, like I've been to the paranormal every once in a while, I think she cried. But since it was interesting because it was a bunch of hoopla until we bought a house and we painted it and everything for 2 weeks, and then it was finally our move-in day. And we're all excited because all of our, friends came in and helped us move in. And it's a glorious day. And it's a glorious day because we had some delicious rum and Coke ready for us, okay? We haven't even taken a sip. We're waiting until, we can move from the kitchen to the living room and just sit, relax, everything's done, give a little toast. And he's like, because she's really into the environment, really into recycling. She goes, maybe we should put the recycling right in that corner. And from the basement, we heard, "Yep." and so my ears, 7 years here in the paranormal field, my ears are tuned to that stuff. So, I gave it about 10 seconds, as you would be, out of curiosity if other team members would hear it. And then I said, "Joy, did you just hear someone from the basement say, yeah?" She said, "I absolutely did. I was just hoping that I was hearing things." I said, "Let's go to the living room and drink." so and there have been some times when, there's some energy back and forth, arguments, etc., where we start to hear weird noises in the corner, and it's just, oh, yes.
They get attracted to that stuff. They love the show. They love that energy. Yeah.
But real quick, I had to sneak this in here. When you were talking about birds and whatnot, I was dealing with some health issues that had been on my mind for a while, and right around early December of last year, and I went to either take a nap or go to bed, but I was by myself, and Julie usually sleeps prior to me, so it's probably like a nap, but like maybe around 7 or 8 p.m. or something. And I lived in this house for about 2 years, never heard an owl whatsoever. I'm trying to sleep, can't sleep real well, and I heard an owl, and I said, "You know what? I better go take care of this stuff," and I did. So it's one of those things, I didn't take it as, "Oh, my boy, you're gonna die," but
It's like,
it was, I need to do something.
Yeah, wake up, boy! You need to go do that. Yeah. Exactly, and that's exactly how you should take it. That was an excellent job of doing that. Also, I have to compliment you on the fact that you're smart enough to know when you're moving, you never crack the booze out until after everything's done and put up.
Yes,
that's a wise thing for somebody your age.
Very true.
You never break the beer out until after all the work's done. Otherwise, nothing. You're halfway through and everybody's drunk.
Yeah. One of my best friends, and it's everyone's skilled in their own career. And I love that we're so well diversified. I could handle, my area, everyone else. One of my best friends, John, who's a part of the paranormal group, he just did his 8th investigation last week. Very proud of him.
Good man.
He professionally delivers furniture and has been for years. I said, what a talented man to have in your corner when you're moving stuff around. Yeah, so when we moved, he helped me pick out the big U-Haul, and he can listen. I can go to your house and talk to the walls in the dark for 8 hours. I can do that all day, but I can't pack a U-Haul like he can. See, we all have
there's art to there's
it's like Tetris, you have to. Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm really good with numbers. I am not good with. Thank you. But it is smart. No one's nicking these walls that Julie and I, mostly Julie, spent 2 weeks painting. Okay, you got to give credit where credit's due in case she's watching. Okay.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, I just want to say to everyone that's watching, first of all, of course, thank you. But I've been having nothing but issues with my computer for the past couple of weeks, and now I have other cleaners and all that have expired. I'm getting a new computer I apologize if I'm not seeing comments. I don't even see pictures, profile pictures in comments right now. That's how bad off my computer is. So if I'm missing comments or questions, I do apologize. It's not you. I promise you, it's not me. It's 100% my computer right now. I promise next week it'll be better. Okay, so
It's
I
interesting,
just feel the need to say that because I see this well comment in from Tina Frick. I apologize if you made a comment or had a question. I'm not able to scroll through questions very well. It takes a really long time for my computer to do that, so I apologize. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because I saw that comment because of the issues that I'm having. So, but kind of getting back on track real quick because it's going to be 10 o'clock before we know it, or 9 o'clock your time before we know it. Real quick, I don't know if you've heard of these. You said your wife likes dowsing rods.
Mm-hmm.
There are these light up dowsing rods here. I don't know if you've seen them in the field at all, but they're made by North Canton Paranormal. You can get them on Amazon. They're a little bit pricey, but they light up really nice in the dark. Probably can't see it very well here because, but these are really cool, and they I've never used dowsing rods that were as smooth as these. Like these are. So I don't know, I just kind of want to point them out because you mentioned that she likes dowsing rods, and I love them. Yeah,
our Julia's Wanda K dowsing rods have the tips light up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean it's got that glow stuff in it. It's not like anything battery powered, but so you can see it now. I used them one time, and some lady started bitching she didn't like the light. But gotta say hello to Nick out there. Nick,
yes.
How you doing, buddy?
Nick is a good guy.
Miss seeing you. Yeah.
So is that how the family investigations go? You're in the dark looking for negative spirits, and then Julia's got to light up dowsing rods leading the way.
So obviously, they're going to see her first and knock her out before they get to me. So
yeah, that's smart, Hey guys, I'm just bringing up the rear here, just making sure everyone's safe.
Oh shoot! I was watching. What was it? I get this. I watched. It was a Fright Club, with Jack Osborne and the Ghost Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Now you think, you have those big clip shows are the big thing right now, and everybody's real serious about it. This freaking show's a scream because the Ghost Brothers are all funny. They're a great bunch of guys anyway, and they're just funny. I mean, they just do it. They just have a great time with this. One of the most fun paranormal shows I've ever watched, and I was set up to hate it because this is stupid. But no, it's cool, and I've met the Ghost Brothers, and so I like them, so I gave it a shot, and I said the best thing. But this haunted Hill House in Texas, they had showed a clip from there. So this guy and his girlfriend were sleeping downstairs, and they get up, so they hear something. They come up, and they're looking around, and they're right next to each other, and they hear something up the stairs, and he grabs her and puts her in front of him just like that. I'm going, oh, geez, what an asshole. And they asked him, they had the thing on, he goes, and I guess it was Jalen, Joanne said, he goes, well, I guess you guys aren't together. He goes, oh, no, we're not together anymore. I said, and Marcus goes, well, no wonder, look what you did, So,
I'm with him on that one, to be honest. I mean, look, there's so many people that go into the field and they want to have an experience. And us being in the field for years, we've already had our experiences. Let someone else have the experiences, just, hey, here you go, If you want to experience it, I always get a big kick out of it because, when I lead the investigations, people will be like, oh my gosh, why are you telling that person to go in that room solo? I said, look, that person really hasn't experienced anything all night, and we drove X hours to get here.
Mm-hmm.
What if the spirits want to communicate one-on-one? Listen, we're doing it for the spirits.
Sure.
We're doing it for them to have a great time and try and get a really personable experience. And third, it's hilarious. Just go in there and good luck,
Yep.
But I love that stuff so much.
I do too. It's nothing you're talking about, having experiences. And so and I'm not going to say what shows we're talking about, but it's like they act shocked when they hear something on the EVP. Wasn't that what you wanted?
Right.
I love it. John, who's the mover, right? John's John Hughes is a mover. He really has experienced much over his 8 investigations because he's so darn grounded. And I'm like, I'm with you, buddy. But I said, out of curiosity, let's just assume, and this is high end, maybe like 6 or 8. Let's just say 8. 8 hours in investigation, 8 investigations, 64 hours. So, 64 hours you sat in the dark asking for something to happen. I said, what if something just, crawled over to you and whispered your name in your ear? He said, I'd be out of there. I ain't go back in. So what are you talking about, John? You just sat there for 64 hours asking for something to happen. You know, like that's the difference. That's the difference. I'm jazzed up. I say, let's go.
That's what you're there for, man. That's
Yeah.
I've been grabbed and had stuff thrown at me. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't scare me. It's like if I was going to scare me, I wouldn't do it.
You know what gets me is just like when I see spirit, like when you see that full body apparition, that always kind of gets me. That I don't know why. Like I'm a sensitive, but I guess like seeing it is different than feeling it. Maybe that confirmation, like having it all at once, it's just I don't know. But when you see that full body apparition, it's always shocking to me. I don't know why. Like why am I that's what I'm looking for. That's like the goal. That's the holy grail of what we're looking for, And I'm like, but like I see it, I'm like, it always scares the crap out of me. I'm like, why? I don't get it. Maybe next time I'll be more prepared. But it's been a while since I've seen a full bodied apparition.
I've never seen a full body. I don't think I've seen partials and stuff. I've seen shadow people galore, but never seen a full body. I've seen things trying to manifest, and I've seen stuff like you can know it's there, and you can, like you said, you feel it first, and you see it.
Yeah,
but I've never seen a full body one. That's cool, man.
I saw one. It was a little girl. She was peeking around a corner. We were in a historical society, and we were like in the we were in an area. I'm a wanderer, and I somehow ended up in a storage area where they keep all the stuff that they don't have on display. So it's like their vault, if you will. And it was like it was a little girl peeking around the corner. Literally it was like the only part I did see of her was the part that would have been like where the wall was. And I don't know why it scared the crap out of me, but it scared the crap out of me. Now I've had like visions in my mind's eye of spirit since then. That doesn't bother me. But like to see it like right there in front of you physically, that I don't know. It's been a long. I don't think it happens a lot. But when that happened to me, it really, and that's actually I felt bad because I may have dropped an F-bomber before, and so like I felt bad because I was like afterwards it like hit me. I was like, holy cow! I just cursed a bunch in front of a little girl. I was like, well, maybe I'm not ready to open them up as much as I am. So I kind of closed myself off a little bit because of the guilt. But now it's been a while, and now I've been opening up more again. But like I always kind of remind myself of that because you have to be mindful because like your reaction, it's not just That was a very selfish reaction of mine, and I felt horrible after that.
Well, you don't know if it's a little girl though either.
Well, I guess I
mean, there's always that, so I wouldn't feel terrible about it. I mean, that's she's a ghost; she's heard worse. But but still, no, I get what you're saying though. And you're like, we reflect our own personalities. But, I'm like you, would not swear like that from a small child.
Yeah.
It's just I consider that repugnant, and so I could see why you'd feel that way. Oh yeah, those little girl spirits just break my heart, and I tell you, every time. Those are tough.
It really is.
Come across quite a few, but
those children spirits. It's like, could you imagine? It's like one thing to come across an adult, but then you think about that child, and to be like, what if that child's trapped there? It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, there's this, and I go back to Mineral Springs again, but you get up on the upper floor there. There used to be hotel rooms up there and stuff. They're starting to remodel them into apartments. But there's this little girl spirit, and she stands in this one corner and looks out the window. She's waiting for somebody to come and get her. And God knows how many years. She's been standing there. But sometimes she doesn't like her. There's a bear in a blanket, a little stuffed teddy bear in a blanket. And I come in there, I find it not where it's supposed to be. I know it pisses her off and it makes her sad, or it upsets her, so I put it back. But yeah, it's just, and you can just feel that it's like they're there. She's like trapped, and she doesn't respond to you. You try to talk to her about going on. It's she might even be just a repeater. I don't know, but he can still sure feel that sadness that she wants somebody to come get her, daddy or mom. I don't know which, but yeah, that's the joy of being an empath, my friend.
Right. Oh, tell me about it. One of the hardest times is when I was at a children's hospital, which I want to give you some time. We haven't talked a lot about your book. When we get into your book, when someone picks up your book, what can we expect to read about? What is your book about?
You can expect to learn about somebody who started with no spiritual inclination whatsoever to 27 years of experiences. And a lot of these experiences are recounted in the book. It's like I'm telling my story about how where I was, where I am now, but how I got. The most important thing is how I got there along the way, and describes that. I just talk about things that have inspired me. I talk about how, because these are based on transcripts from 2 videos that I did. Thank you, Aaron. That I did. They're on VidiSpace. I did 2 interview videos with my friend Dave Nunnally. And what I did, and this is kind of a cheap way to write a book. I want to point something out. That is not my butt. Okay, I told Mike Ricksecker that was his butt. I don't have a butt like that, so that's not me. Actually, it's stock footage, Mike told me. But anyway, so and I tell about some of this, my experiences with the pipes and my teachers, and there's pictures in there. I talk about my tattoos because my tattoos. I don't can't see them too well, but you can see them. This is my way. I call it my scarification rituals, because this is how I show that I said yes to this, to my spirit animals. I got coyotes and eagle feathers and thunderbirds and all sorts of things like that. But it basically I tell my story about how I got to be where I am today, and all the great things and all the shitty things that happened in between. And that's, I'm very honest about, what my feelings were like and at the beginning, and how much trouble I was in psychologically, where I was, basically pretty much suicidal at one point. And how I pull myself back up, it's not like where I talk about this is, how I don't talk a lot about that stuff, but it shows you basically how I do it and how I maintain. The first video was the shock and awe part. The second video is called Walk the Path, which I talk about what I do and things like that, about how I maintain and what I think is ethical. Like the people who I admire, or who motivate me. One was the Dalai Lama, who I just love to death, and then the other was Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters, because and you know why I just think the world of Dave Grohl. He's one of these guys that, like, you take your talent and you just go like hell with it. People say you're going to suck, that's okay. You just keep doing it. Be yourself. And that is such an important message. You don't front. You be yourself. It just takes work. And it talks about the work you have to do to put into this. It's like nothing that makes it not easy, but some of the work is so good. It's so cool that it's, once you get into it, it's like, it doesn't seem like work. I can be doing readings. If I'm doing a psychic fair and I get a bunch of readings, hours can pass and I don't realize it. I'm just in my bliss is I read a lot. I still do read Joseph Campbell's stuff. He talks about finding your bliss, which means finding that spot in the timeless where you're so engrossed and so happy about what you're doing. Time doesn't mean anything anymore. You're in that place. And it points to stuff like that. And I talk about some of the other things that have influenced me in the East. I like it. I like a lot of the Eastern stuff. I like Taoism. I like Buddhism. Some of the South and Central America stuff. Well, I don't talk a lot about that, but the Toltec and that sort of thing. But yeah, these things that have influenced me over the years and stuff I've read. But basically, it's the story. And the guy who interviewed me is just really good. He got me to say stuff that I don't mind saying, but he was smart enough to go certain places that I would not have offered it up.
Nice.
So you get a pretty good look at me. Even my greatest fear is in there. So I'll have to leave that to you guys reading it. So yeah.
Yeah, Aaron is she's crushing on you. Aaron,
Oh,
he's
cool.
married. I have to say, I feel like that needs to be said.
Hey, I'll follow you on Facebook later on there. If we're not friends already, we'll check it. No, thank you so much, Aaron.
Oh.
I appreciate that.
Sorry, Brian. Oh, geez.
Oh gosh.
Brother can't catch a break.
But yeah, please read it. And if you can get it on Amazon, you can get the paperback or a Kindle. If you have Amazon Prime, you can read it for free. And so, I mean, I still get royalties for that, so that doesn't bother me at all. So whatever works best for y'all. And if you do buy the paperback and you see me, I'll be more than happy to sign it always. And I appreciate anybody who does buy it and read it. It's the reason I had it done. I took the transcripts and I added a bunch of stuff. So you can watch the video, but the book's is in the same lines, but it's got longer answers and more in-depth answers to it. So it make more sense in print. Is the reason I wanted to do this. And I have to admit, I wanted to have the book because my dad was an English teacher and he was a lit teacher.
Ooh.
And so I wish he'd have lived to see this. And so when I dedicated the book to him, I said, I'll bring you a copy when it's my time to come up. So,
Awesome.
but it's to show people that even somebody like me can have 27 years of great stuff happen and just make your life so much more fulfilling. It's not a how-to book. It's just like, this is me and this is how it happened for me. And it can happen to you too, maybe not the same exact way. But, once you start paying attention to you put stuff out to the universe that you're ready for it, and doors will start opening for you and things will start happening, and you know that. And it's like, yeah, and that's, if you're truly walking that path, then, good stuff will happen. And if you want something and you don't get it, it's not because you didn't deserve it, it's because that wasn't for you. And so, you have to get over that. You don't pay. I also talk too about if you don't pay attention to spirit, that you get these things like you need to do this, and like an example was I live in Kankakee, Illinois, and so my job was going fine, wife's job was going fine. We got a young daughter, and I'm out walking one day, and I hear this, you hear your mind. It's time to go home. Just come back to where I'm at now. I don't want to go home. A couple weeks pass, get it again. Time to go home. Nope, I'm happy here. Don't want to go home. A couple more weeks. Time to go home. Third time. Okay, that's the magic number.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay, so in the next 2 months, 3 months, I was working with violent kids, and so I had to do a strain. And my shoulder, I hurt my shoulder when I was wrestling in high school, and it went. AC joint blew out, and so I had to get surgery. I was off for 6 weeks. While I was hurt, I got laid off from my job, and so in some hinky type of fashion. And then my wife started having trouble with her job, and we looked at each other, and I told her what had happened. I said, she looked at each other and said, it's time to go home, man. It's time to go home. And,
Wow.
Then I come home, and I was getting ready to get out of the Coyote medicine. Then I'm home for a few weeks, and a big ad appears in the paper about Johnny Moses from the Pacific Northwest coming to the local college to give a talk. I go there and meet Johnny. There's my new medicine path.
Wow.
The fates guide those who will, those who won't, they drag. Well, I'm a professional being dragged. So that's always say, listen to them because I'll kick your ass.
Right. Hey, dude, you're gonna end up where you're supposed to be at one way or another.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I believe that.
Yeah. It's just such a cool trip. I just, and I love talking about it, and you guys are great. I'm having a great time here tonight. And I just read something Aaron said.
Oh.
Oh,
geez.
That's great, Aaron. Thank you. Yeah. I'm probably old enough to be your dad, but I appreciate that. Oh shit, that's wonderful. I love it. But yeah, such a fun trip, and you meet so many cool people. But you, Mr. Gilmore, and I need to do some work, and with Brian, you need to come along too.
Yes.
We'll get something in between sometime, Indiana,
Yes.
something like that. I'll talk to my boy. I know quite a few people. We'll see what we can get going. So, all right, we'll put that on the agenda.
Definitely, we can definitely. I think between us, we can definitely get something worked out. So
yeah, I think so.
I have flexibility, so whenever it is, just let me know in advance, and I'm
Okay.
there.
Shoot, yeah, man. We'll sell tickets and everything.
Hey.
Well, maybe. We don't just do that either. We just go investigate on that. But it's always nice to, at least earn your travel costs back.
Yeah, listen, it depends on what's in the blue cup about how much we charge. Okay.
Yeah, and Nick, my brother, you can come along too, my man.
Definitely.
Nick's a good dude.
Yes. Last time they came to Cleveland, I took him and Tom McNicholas to the Christmas Story House, and we went. We visited the outside of the Franklin Castle because we weren't able to get in that day, and then we went and had a nice Italian feast, and we went to a metaphysical store where I got a Salvador Dali tarot deck.
Oh, cool! Dali, that's neat.
Oh, I love it.
I'll look that up, look at the pictures. Yeah, Nick. Oh God, last time I think I saw Nick was at a. We did an event at Ashmore, and Nick was there, and Nick and Tom were there, and we always stay. I always stay at this one place in Mattoon called the Sweet Dreams. It's an old, used to be a Holiday Inn, but it's these other people on it, and they have the best bar down there. We had a great time. The karaoke and stuff like that. We had a freaking blast.
Oh wow!
So it was a fun trip, Nick. Yeah, it's like always people say, you tell me you do shaman or you're shaman, that it's like, oh, you kind of act up. I said, hey, I'm a spiritual man. I'm not a holy man. So I will raise a glass. So but I like to have fun, and it's fun to me. And I like hanging out with people who are into similar things I'm hanging out. I'm doing too, and so I've met so many good people on the road, and friendships that I'll endure for as long as I'm around. So. And I enjoy that. I enjoy learning from different things about people, meeting new people, investigating with different new people, and I like with my friends too. It's like it's just a good time to me. So I'm always looking to do something different.
Definitely, that's like one of the coolest part about the paranormal community. It's so widespread. A lot of it can seem cliquey at times, but if you are able to spread out around, you can meet. You can meet so many fantastic people, and it can be intimidating at times because there's some big name peoples, but they are good. 99% of them are really good people.
Yeah,
and the other 1% are probably just fine. They're just closed off, and which honestly, I can't really blame a person for being closed off. So.
Now, I will say there's too much of this bickering bullshit that goes on. It's like, if you don't like somebody else's evidence, just fine. You don't like it. You don't demean the person.
Yeah. I don't like to break apart people's. It's not my job to judge your evidence or to break apart, to prove or disprove your evidence. Sure. You believe I can't put down your experience and what you had when you captured that. Yeah. I'm not going to put it down. I could say, you know what, this is what I think it is. Take it for whatever that's worth, but I'm not going to sit there and put you down. No. Just like the equipment that you choose to use, I'm not going to put you down for that. I might question it. It may not be for me, but I'm not going to put you down for that,
Yeah, that's like, me with my necrophonic. It's like, I don't care if you like it or not. I have a good time with it, and it works for me, so
that's all
I don't care. So, it makes life a lot easier if you don't worry about what other people say.
That's true.
That's the ego stuff, and I can still get kind of offended once in a while, but not like I used to be able to. So, made progress there.
When I led the college group, anyone could come on this investigation. It was a student-run organization, and I'm here to try and teach people and make sure everyone has a good time. And so, of course, you got a handful of skeptics, believers, and everyone in between.
Oh, yeah. You're always going to get that.
So, yeah, so we're at
okay.
the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and, someone saw some shadows outside, and as if some spirit people were like walking around the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And this individual had the best experience of his paranormal adventure so far. And someone was like, you were just seeing that, blah, 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 blah. And, you almost have to pull people aside and say, hey, listen, relax. Whatever, paranormal personal experience they have, that's theirs.
That's right.
Or, whatever they experience is theirs, and you need to treasure it and let them treasure it.
Yeah,
now, when it comes to like group presentations, that's when we could be a little more debunking and a little more selective of what we show during libraries and presentations. But boy, it is so hard to get someone a paranormal experience. Let them treasure it. Yeah,
that's definitely right. That's what, if you're actually there for the right reasons, you'll realize that. And so you guys were kind of like your little paranormal you, huh?
Yeah, it was a phenomenal.
His group was at a Catholic college.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't know how they passed it, but we took it and ran. And me being like the business dude, we would go do these big presentations. We get thousands of dollars, and we'd buy good equipment. We'd rent out the big locations, and we go there. But to be fair, for a college organization, we all pay our dues. We all do the traveling. We learn logistical skills, and then we bring it back. We do the hours of evidence review. We do these big grand presentations.
Scientific stuff, yeah.
But trust me, we went to some great places. We went to some cool places.
Yeah, I could see it now. Father, we're looking for the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost. There
were some rules. There was no Ouija boards.
Oh no, yeah.
And something else, and then no exorcisms. And I was like, that's a shame. I was about to bring, like 7 priests, and we're gonna go exercise someplace. Like, that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
The whole religion department hated us. They were like, don't give them any funding. I was like, come on, kids, relax. All right, we're just trying to make some memories here.
That's right.
It was a blast. Awesome. And I mean, as much of a great time as that was, tonight was an even more phenomenal night. And it was
for me too.
That's in the past, this is in the present, and this was, I mean, you could even see all the comments. I mean, everyone is loving the experience.
Yeah, definitely. So how can people find you? I know I have your website going across the ticker, but how can people find you, find your book, and find your shows, all of that?
Yeah, okay. My book, you can see is www.coyotechris.com. Actually, on the homepage, you can click on a link. It'll take you to Amazon to get the book. And you also watch I had a show that was on for a while. Actually, we're getting ready to relaunch it called Spirit Drum, but we're going to call it something else. So my friend Charlotte Harden and I and Heather Larson's going to be part of it too this time. So you'll be able to find out about there. It talks on there too about some of my experience. It also has my calendar on it about where I'm going to be. That was real quick. On March 26th and 27th, I'll be at the Shanley Hotel in New York. A part of a Fluminary production. I'll be with April Bussett and Mustafa Gugliori. That's right. Mustafa. It's never had to pronounce his last name except first time the other day. April 24th, I'll be at the Omaha HauntedCon. It's a one-day event there at the Sokol Arena. It's a great time. May 1st and 2nd, I'll be at the Universal Energy Expo in Covington, Kentucky. Now, I won't be, it's pretty far from Cleveland area, but it's pretty close. It's real close to Cincinnati. And then May 22nd, sorry, Dan, I'll be at the Hinsdale House with Dan Class and Chris and Bill Leap of Leap Paranormal.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's Facebook, Christopher Sutton, Coyote Chris Sutton. That's my like page. Twitter at Coyote Chris S, Instagram at Coyote Chris S, and I have an IMDb page. It's Chris Sutton parentheses XX121. I'm the 21st Chris Sutton, but my picture's there, so
nice.
I just threw that up there this last year. Actually, Dan talked me into it, so I did that too. So, and that shows what I've been in and things like that as well. So, yeah, awesome. That's where you find me. But brothers, we got to get together sometime. I won't take no
Yes.
offense, so we'll make it work.
I would absolutely love it. I
Mhm.
know that we would. I know we would connect well. It'd be a great time investigating.
Yeah.
You to do like a daytime thing outside and maybe inside at night or something. I don't know.
I'll tell you this.
Let's go inside during the day and go outside at night.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, those are the good ones.
Okay. We can
What
do that.
was it? Bring your son. We'll go find some Wendigo or something.
That brings me to something else. He's engaged now. He and his fiance have a house, and she has a 9-year-old boy, and so we'll be a grandfather here. We're going to get married next year. Yeah, so I instant grandson. None of this bottle and diaper shit. I get to.
You get to skip all that. Yeah.
But you're talking about the Wendigo and stuff, and I hear you ever heard of that thing called the rake?
Yeah.
Okay, so people say, I want to go find the Wendigo or I want to find the rake. I say, that's a lose-lose proposition.
Right.
One, if you don't find him, you look stupid. You've given all the money. If you do find him, they're going to kill you. So if there is a Wendigo or the rake, they're going to kill you. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, most of the time, like you don't find them.
Yeah, they find you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can understand squatches because squatches are basically are peaceful. I get those. And puckwudgies and the little elementals and things are usually pretty cool, although they can be nasty if you're nasty to them. But yeah, the Wendigo and the rake, it's like, fuck, no, you're a goner. So
yeah,
I didn't want that. So no, guys, I appreciate it. Love you guys. It was super nice. It was a good time. So we'll get together and thank you everybody that watched all the lovely comments and chat, and I really appreciate it, every one of you. So and thanks for watching.
Yeah, as long as we get a date together, I will do whatever it takes to make it happen.
All right, man. So you'll come to my house and pick me up and drive me.
Hey, as long as there's a charger and
as long as there's a car charger. There's got to be a car charger. So
yeah, car charger. Never mind. I'll throw everything in the soul. And I'm into that environmental stuff. That's great. I that's wonderful stuff.
My car gets good gas mileage, but
mine does too. Yeah. So my Kia Soul gets me around.
Oh, nice.
The Coyote Mobile, yeah.
A Coyote Mobile.
Nice.
Like a nice car wrap or something. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody, we hope you guys over this Wednesday, this wonderful hump day, and hope we help you slide into the weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your week, everybody. Thank you, everyone, who have tuned in. Next week, I don't know where my phone went. Sorry. Real quick, time just snuck up on me today. Next week we have, I believe hold on, am I right? It is. It's Dead Republic. John Ward, Hillary Ward, Marcus Hogg. It's going to be them, and they're going to be talking about their documentary they dropped about a month or so ago. So it's going to be a lot of fun. John Ward was the first co-host of my podcast when it was Into the Abyss. So it's going to be good times. So everybody, please make sure to tune in. Everybody, go find Coyote Chris's book. I know I'm going to. I just have to sign these papers tomorrow. Tomorrow we are refinancing my house. So now I'll be able to spend money again after tomorrow. So yes, I'm excited for that. All right, everybody. Have a great one. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Sean Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He was featured on the TV show Paranormal Survivor that airs on Travel Channel.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mursell.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making Paraunity a real thing, because we all need to support each other within our community. And that's what the show has always been about.